Hello, I'm Ben and you're watching The PhD Parent. So up to about 30% of parents describe their kid as having a sleep problem. So if you reckon your kid has a sleep problem, then you're not alone. The most common sleep problems reported by parents are their kid not sleeping enough, frequent night waking, and the kid not going to sleep when you put them into bed. Sometimes parents can have unrealistic expectations about their kid's sleep, and so may think the kid has a problem when in fact everything is as expected. If you'd like to know more about normal sleep behaviours in kids, then you can check out my video in which I discuss sleep duration across a 24-hour period, another video in which I discuss nighttime sleep patterns, and I also have a video in which I discuss daytime sleep patterns. And the links to all of those videos are down below. But if you do have a kid with sleep problems, which you won't need to be convinced can have a significant negative impact, and you want to know what you might be able to do about it, then keep watching. Because in this video, I'll review studies that have investigated the impact of bedtime routines on sleep problems in kids up to 3 years old. So the current video is one in a series that looks at sleep interventions for kids up to 3 years old. And just a couple of background bits. In each video in this series, only studies that are randomized controlled trials, or RCTs, are considered, as this approach provides the most powerful test of whether an intervention is effective in reducing sleep problems compared to other approaches. And for more on RCTs, you can check out my video in the link below. For the purposes of the videos in this series, I harvested references from several recent reviews, plus my own Google Scholar search. Some of the studies I came across involved recruiting kids up to 3 years old and used an RCT design. However, the sample sizes in these studies were very small. For example, less than 10 kids in a condition. Because studies with such small sample sizes can't provide confidence in the results, I chose not to include these studies. So as mentioned in this video, I'm going to review the evidence for bedtime routines. In another video, I review research investigating the impact of the types of sleep strategies you come across on parenting websites, podcasts, books, and so on. And I also have a video in which I look at graded extinction, otherwise known as sleep training. The links to these videos are down below. For the moment though, it's on to bedtime routines. So the rationale for studies in this area is that by having a bedtime routine, the world will become more predictable for kids and consequently less stressful, leading to improvements in sleep. Now there are only 3 RCTs investigating the use of bedtime routines that I came across. These studies involved infants and toddlers between the ages of 3 to 36 months. Typically, the intervention involved prescribing parents with a bedtime routine consisting of giving the kid a bath, for infants, giving them a massage with lotion, and for toddlers, applying the lotion, and then quiet activities, for example, cuddling, singing, or lullabies. This routine was to be carried out over a 30-minute period, and the bedtime routine condition was compared to a control condition in which parents were just supposed to do whatever it is they usually did. So now on to the findings of the research. Now, I won't go into the details, but in Mindell 2009, the data wasn't analysed appropriately, with the approach used not permitting conclusions about the effectiveness of the intervention. For stats people, the researchers looked only at change within groups without comparing the magnitude of this change across groups. So I'm going to set this study aside. So in Mindell 2018, compared to the control condition, the adoption of a bedtime routine led to a reduction in the number of night wakings from about 2 to 1.5 night wakings, with no change in the control condition. The bedtime routine condition did not have an impact on how long it took kids to get to sleep, how long they stayed up at night if they awoke, how long they slept for at night, and how long they slept for during the day. So not spectacular findings. In Mindell 2011, compared to the control condition, the adoption of a bedtime routine led to kids going to sleep about 10 minutes faster. Kids also woke about once less per night. If they woke up, they went to sleep about 20 minutes faster, and the longest duration kids slept for was about 120 minutes longer. There were no differences in terms of total nighttime or daytime sleep. So these results are looking a little bit better. However, the parents in the bedtime routine condition also received information concerning the importance of early bedtimes, strategies for decreasing negative sleep associations, and development of positive sleep habits. Thus, the observed benefits of the intervention in this study can't be attributed to the use of a bedtime routine. That is, the benefits could easily have been driven by all the other information the parents received. In fact, in this study, there was another condition in which parents received the same information as described, but were not instructed to put a sleep routine into place. When you look at the outcomes for this condition, it was likewise superior to the control condition, and there were no obvious differences between this information condition and the bedtime routine plus information condition. So the most parsimonious conclusion is that it was the information parents received that led to improvements in sleep rather than the use of a bedtime routine. So what to make of this research? The results of these studies are mixed, but provide some consistent evidence suggesting that a bedtime routine may reduce the number of times a kid wakes at night. It's less clear if a bedtime routine has other reliable impacts on sleep. Now, some things to take into consideration are, first, the studies were industry sponsored by a company that happens to produce bath soap and baby lotion. The relevance of this is that the bedtime routine suggested involved use of a lotion. Now, this doesn't invalidate the findings, though it makes me a little skeptical. Second, in the study that produced the most convincing findings, Mindell 2011, as mentioned, you can't cleanly attribute the observed improvements in sleep to the use of a bedtime routine. And third, a general issue is that these studies could only permit you to say that having a bedtime routine is beneficial. Whether it's the one used in these studies is an open question. That is, maybe any routine would be helpful. On a related note, a Cochrane review found no evidence of any benefits for massage with low-risk infants under the age of 6 months. So despite massage being a part of the routines in these studies, there's no good evidence to rush out and make it part of a routine. And lastly, to be fair, the review studies probably underestimate the benefits of having a bedtime routine. Specifically, the control group were told to keep doing whatever it was they were doing. It's possible that some people in this group already had a bedtime routine in place or decided themselves to put one in place, either of which would make it tougher to pick up differences between the intervention and control groups. Now, if you wanted to maximize the chances of picking up an impact of a bedtime routine on sleep, then you'd want participants in your control condition to have no routine whatsoever. So for example, you could have the same sets of activities that kids go through each night, but they go through these in a different random order each night. So in summary, the results of these studies do not provide compelling evidence for the use of a bedtime routine. If anything, a routine probably helps with the number of times a kid wakes at night, which is a good outcome if you've ever had a kid waking multiple times a night over an extended period. That said, there is no evidence that a bedtime routine does any harm, and it's commonly recommended. For example, Mindell found that more than 90% of pediatricians recommend a bedtime routine for kids experiencing sleep problems. In conclusion, while I don't reckon the evidence provides a convincing case that a bedtime routine will have a dramatic impact on a kid's sleep, it won't hurt putting one in place. We did. So that's it for the impact of bedtime routines on kids' sleep. If there's anything I've gotten wrong, any important research I've overlooked, or if you have any questions, then feel free to get in touch. Otherwise, happy parenting.